Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to day 3. We are looking at square pyramids today. We're going to find how to determine the volume and the surface area. Okay, so let's dive straight into it. I want to start by telling you that this is the formula, right? Remember, all of these formulas will be given to you. You don't have to memorize it. There will be a formula sheet. Okay, it'll have the figure and the formula underneath it. So here, I've given you the formula for the volume of a square pyramid is 1/3 big B times H. Okay, and you need to know that the big B represents the area of the base. Okay, the area of the base, and then the H is the height. Okay. So we got to find the area of the base, and we need the height to determine the volume. Okay, so I'm going to remind you, these are the same steps that we used for the previous lesson with cones. All right, so every problem we're going to start by figuring out what our formula is. We're going to write that down. Then we are going to figure out what information that we need. What are the specific information, identify it, tell what we need. Then we're going to substitute it in, then we're going to plug it into the formula, and then we just we calculate it based on that expression. We evaluate it, and we just plug it into decimals for our answer. All right, so find the volume of this figure. All right, first thing we need to do is write down our formula. Formula for the volume of a square pyramid is 1/3 big B times the height. All right, and now in these problems today, I've given you this box to kind of help you identify certain information. Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. Some of this information you won't need for finding volume. Okay, so this box right here is just all the information that we can get from this pyramid by looking at it. And again, sometimes you're not going to need all of the information there. Some of this is actually used for surface area, which we'll get to at the end of the lesson. All right, so what we need is, for this, we need the big B and we need the H. Now, we don't need the P. Okay, the P stands for the perimeter, and we're going to talk about that again for surface area, and the same thing for the L, the slant height. We don't need that. So for this, I'm just going to ignore this for the volume problems. Okay, so big B. Okay, so the big B, remember, is the base of the area of the base. Okay, so my base is, in all of these pyramids, is going to be a square. So how do I find the area of a square? Well, I just multiply the side times the side, right? So 12 times 12 is 144. Okay, so that is the area of the base is 144, and that's centimeters squared. Okay, for my height, now here's where I'm going to need to understand the difference between height and the slant height. Okay, so the height is always straight up and down, and usually it is shown by a dotted line. Okay, so that shows that I'm going straight up and down. This other one, on the other hand, is a slant height because it is diagonal, it is slanted. Okay, so for the slant, for the height, I gotta make sure I use the correct numbers. So it's either 14.8 or 16. Again, hopefully you know this by now, but if you don't, again, the height is the one straight up and down. So my height would be 14.8. All right, and so the 16 is the slant height. I don't need that for this problem, nor do I need the P, so I'm not gonna worry about that here. Okay, so I'm just identifying this is the information that I need. Okay, because my formula is 1/3 base times the height. All right, so now I have my information. Now I'm just gonna substitute it in. Okay, so we got 1/2 centimeters here. All right, we got the area of the base is 144. Okay, and that's centimeters squared, but for the purpose of multiplying, I'm not gonna put that there. And then I have the height is 14.8. Okay, and so Then I just take that and I put it into my calculator. For the sake of time, I'm just going to give you the answer. I'm not going to switch over to show you how to do that in Desmos. Again, you just put it in, knowing that when the parentheses is multiplication, I'm multiplying each of these. And so I come up with my volume is 710 and 4/10. So 710.4. All right. And that's it. So again, knowing what the formula is and knowing what part of our pyramid do we need to use, identifying the correct parts that's the hardest part to this figuring out the volume. Okay. So let's look at one more example. Then I'm going to let you do the remainder on your own. Okay. So with this one, again, we're finding what is the volume of this square pyramid. I'm going to start this problem. I'm going to go to my formula sheet, figure out what is the formula for volume. And the formula is 1/3 times big B times H. Again, make sure that you write that formula down to start, okay? Because you're going to be working with a lot of formulas and many volumes and many surface areas, so you don't want to get them confused, okay? So volume of surface for a square pyramid, 1/3 times big B times H. Now, again, I don't need the P here. I don't need the L here. I'm gonna need that later, okay? So let's look at what we have. The big B, again, remember, big B is the area of the base. So it is the area of the square, okay, which is the base here. So to get the area of the square, I'm just multiplying side times side, which is 6 times 6. And so that's gonna give me 36 feet squared is the base. The height, all right, is, again, straight up and down. It is 10 feet is my height. And so now have that. All I'm going to do is just substitute it in. Okay. Oh, so 1/3 big B times 36 times 10. And then I just evaluate the expression, multiply these. And when I do so, I'm going to end up with 120, and it is cubic feet. All right, guys, that is it. So that is how you find the volume of a square pyramid. Pretty simple, okay? So I want you to go ahead and pause the video right now. And this is your time to practice. So there are 3 examples. I want you to walk through the next 3 examples on your own. All right. And then once you do that, I want you to go ahead and record your answers. And then after that, we're going to continue this video by looking at how to now find the surface area. So pause it, do these practice problems, and then we'll continue here in just a moment. All right, this is now part 2. We are gonna go into how to find the surface area of a square pyramid. Remember, surface area is like just the outsides of the 3-dimensional figure, right? Whereas the volume was, imagine that I was filling up the inside of the shape, how much it takes up, how much space it takes up, okay? So same steps, identify the formula, find the information, identify what we need from our pyramid. Then we're going to substitute it in, and then we evaluate the expression, put it into decimals to get our answer, okay? So, what is the surface area? Again, the formula here of a square pyramid is the surface area equals 1/2 times the L. This L right here is what's called the slant height. So the L is your slant height. We did use that for the cone as well. The P represents the perimeter of the base. It is the perimeter of the base. And then the big B, that's the same thing we used for the last one. The big B is the base, the area of the base. So we're going to need the L, the slant height, the perimeter, and then the area of the base, okay? So let's start with this first example. What's the surface area of that figure? Well, surface area, the formula is 1/2 times the slant height times the perimeter plus the area of the base, the big B, okay? So now let's figure out what we need. Again, we need perimeter, we need the area of the base, we don't need the height, and then we need the slant height. So for these, you're gonna need 3 of the 4 pieces of information in this box. Remember, these boxes won't be given to you on the test. This is just to help us organize our information as we are learning this, okay? So with that, what is the perimeter? Well, again, the perimeter of the base, again, the base of all of these pyramids are squares, okay? And so to find the perimeter is just the outside of the square. So I'm just taking that length of the square and I'm multiplying it by 4. So for this one, it's 12, 12, 12, 12, right? So 12 times 4 would be 48, all right? 48 centimeters. Again, it's just the perimeter, the outside of the base, okay, which is just the square, all right? Now we got the area of the base, okay? So now the big B is, remember, the area of the base. Well, to find the area of the base, I am doing 12 times 12. To find the area, 12 times 12, and that's 144 centimeters squared, okay? And then for the slant height, okay, again, the slant height is diagonal. This line is the line that's going along this triangle along the side of the square pyramid, and that slant height is 16 centimeters, okay? And so then we've identified our information. Now we're just gonna plug it in. So we got 1/2 times the slant height times the perimeter plus the big B, which is 144. And guys, once I do that, I'm just gonna take that, plug in this expression into Desmos, and it will give me my answer, and my answer is 499.2. All right, and let's move on to the second one. Hey, in this one, it did not give me the slant height, so you need to go and add this. The slant height for this one is 5.22. Okay, so 5.22 feet is the slant height. Again, that was left off accidentally. So how much plastic will be needed to make this hollow warning marker? Okay, so again, it's talking about just the outside, the surface area, right? Not the inside, the outside of it, okay? And so to find the surface area of this square pyramid, I'm going to write down my formula. It is 1/2 times the slant height times the perimeter plus the area of the base, okay? And so then I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna identify my information, okay? Again, this time I do not need the height, okay? I need the slant height, all right? So again, P is the perimeter of the base, the perimeter of the base. So it is 3 is the size, so 3, 3, 3, 3. So that is gonna give me 12. 12 feet is the perimeter of the base. The area of the base, well, if the side is 3, then I'm just doing 3 times 3, and that is going to give me 9 feet squared, okay? And then the slant height, I told you, wasn't given because this was, you know what? I'm sorry, you don't need that. It is not 5.22. It is the 5. I was looking at that incorrectly, thinking that was a dotted line. So it is 5 feet for the slant height, all right? And then I'm just gonna substitute these in, all right? So it is surface area equals 1/2 times the slant height, which is 5, times the perimeter, which is 12, and then plus the area of the base, which is 9, all right? And so then I'm going to enter this. I'm going to evaluate this expression, enter it into Desmos, and when I do so, I am going to get 39 square feet as my surface area. All right, 39 square feet. All right, guys, that's it. That is how you determine the surface area of a square pyramid. Now you have 3 examples that I want you to do on your own, okay? I'll go ahead and remind you, again, you will not need the height for each of these. So go ahead and do those 3 examples and then submit your answers. And in this lesson, you've learned how to determine the volume and the surface area of a square pyramid. If you have any questions, raise your hand, comment, like the video, do all of those things, and happy practicing. Good luck.